love truly makes you do crazy things. And in this video, we're taking you through the crazy case of Vicky White and how she went from being an award-winning officer to a wanted fugitive. This is Casey Cole White, a 7-foot-tall white supremacist who was sentenced to 3 years in prison for beating his brother with the handle of an axe sledgehammer. Since 2016, he has been sentenced to 75 years in prison for 7 counts that include attempted murder and robbery. During his 75-year sentence at the William E. Donaldson Correctional Facility, he confessed to an investigator for the 2015 stabbing of Connie Ridgway, a 59-year-old resident of Alabama who passed away and was now charged with 2 counts of capital murder. The authorities decided to transfer him to the detention center in Lauderdale County, where he would soon face trial. To avoid any more severity, he recanted his confession and pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, a plea that the majority of killers take when there's no way out. But almost 90% of the time, it doesn't work. But it was in the corridors of Lauderdale County where he found someone gullible, someone easy to manipulate, or maybe, just maybe, someone he could love. That someone was Vicky White. Now first, let me be clear. Both their names end with White, but they're not related. Now, Vicky White was an assistant director of corrections at Lauderdale County. In her 17 years as a corrections officer, she won Employee of the Year 4 times and was set to win the award again for her last year of service. She married Tommy White in 2002 and divorced him in 2006 due to his alcohol and drug abuse. She was 56 years old at the time of her retirement and had no children. But in 2020, Vicky fell for Casey. Officers of the county reported that Vicky gave Casey special treatment, like extra food and privileges. The guards also noted her tendency to seek sympathy from the staff. To her, it didn't matter a bit that this giant was facing assault, murder, and robbery charges. Didn't even matter that he pled guilty by reason of insanity. Turns out there was just something lovable about him that you and I can't see. She was the Bonnie to his Clyde. Now we come to the day of their retirement, which quickly became the day of their escape. On the morning of April 29, 2022 at 9:30 a.m., Vicky escorted Casey White to the police vehicle and told fellow officers that she was taking him to the county courthouse in Florence for a psychological evaluation, and after that, she was going to see her physician since she was not feeling well that day. Now that sounded awfully suspicious because escorting someone as big as Casey to any place would normally require 2 deputies, not 1 person. But then again, she was the assistant director, and her fellow officers chose not to challenge her. This was just one of the signs to prove that they were about to elope. Before the escape, Vicky sold her 4-acre property for $95,000, which was way less than the property's assessed value of $235,600. This, and the fact that she had developed a romantic relationship with this madman for 2 years, should have been the first sign that she's about to disappear. She also brought firearms, men's clothing, and vehicles before the escape. Just hours before their escape, Vicky was scouting the area to see who's around and how she can get Casey out safely. A surveillance video later showed Casey in handcuffs and leg shackles, escorted to the police vehicle, and after that, the two never returned. The Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department received a surveillance video taken at a local gas station of White's patrol car just 8 minutes after the pair left the detention center. They checked the courthouse's itinerary and found out there was no hearing or evaluations that day. They didn't pan out the theory of romantic eloping just yet, so they thought that she might have been forced or coerced into helping Casey escape. So on that day, the county initiated a statewide manhunt. The police car was easily trackable, so the couple dumped it and switched to a Ford Edge. After that Ford Edge was found abandoned in Tennessee, the manhunt became officially nationwide. The couple then switched to a blue 2006 Ford F-150 pickup truck and checked in and out of several motels. Vicky White was seen in many surveillance videos with her blonde hair dyed black. Now they made it to Evansville, Indiana, where they rented a motel room by paying a homeless man $100 for a 14-day stay. The man himself was a convicted sex offender, but he was unaware that the Whites were on the run. The authorities offered rewards for information leading to their capture, and one anonymous helper tipped off the police by sending them a surveillance video of the couple washing the pickup truck from a car wash employee. The only reason they washed it was to remove the fingerprints and traces on the car, all of which could incriminate them when caught. They were later spotted in another video getting into a gray Cadillac DTS. This was their last car switch, as an Evansville police officer spotted the vehicle at Motel 41 and called for backup. Casey took the wheel and the chase ensued on US Highway 41. Casey drove into a grassy field, and the police vehicle rammed the Cadillac, causing it to flip into a ditch. This is where things intensify further. During their car chase, Vicky called 911 and shared what was quite possibly her last words.
Amazon Island. 911. Hello?
Airbags are going on. Let's get out. Run. Get us back to the hotel.
Hello?
At the end of the call, the car flipped into the ditch, and police converged on the vehicle to arrest the two. It took a whole herd of officers to take down Casey and finally cuff him. This dash cam footage didn't capture the sound well, but it was reported that Casey yelled, quote, "Please help my wife. She shot herself in the head and I didn't do it." As police approached the car, one officer said, quote, "We need to clear some of this to get to her." Another officer, kneeling by the overturned car, says, quote, "She's still got the gun in her hand." One adds, quote, "She's still breathing. I can see her chest rising. Finger still on the trigger. She could pull that trigger again."
Hey, we need to clear some of this shit out of the way so we can get out of here. Okay. Yeah, I got it. He is. Oh, she shot herself. Davis, you good? You need anything? You need anything?
No, she's good.
Okay.
She's still got it in her hand. I don't know.
Got the gun in her hand?
Yeah, she's got a gun.
All right, watch it.
You want this window gone?
Hey. Let's go ahead and pop this front windshield here. She's got the gun in her hand.
The entrance was clearly jammed, so they had to rush someone in to grab Vicky and get pulled out by the other officers.
It's opening. Sometimes it's simpler.
Just be careful, dude.
Yeah. You got me? Yep. I'm gonna go for the gun first. Okay, I'm gonna go for the gun. Right. I'm gonna grab it. Let me a little bit. All right, pull me out. All right, I got it. All right. Scene safe. Hear me pull her out? Yeah. Somebody pull me. Ready? Keep going.
Notice how Casey said, "Please help my wife." According to records, the two were never married, but if they weren't apprehended, that would have been the plan. The officers successfully pulled her lifeless body from the car and apprehended Casey White. Lauderdale County District Attorney Chris Connolly said Casey White was charged with felony murder because Vicky White's death occurred during the commission of a felony, escaping from jail. According to the court documents, he was charged with first-degree escape and, in the course and furtherance of committing escape in the first degree, caused the death of Vicky White, who died from a gunshot wound to the head. Now, this part is actually questionable, as officers who arrived on the scene stated that she was still breathing when they found her. But in audio released by Indiana authorities, the dispatcher claims that they could hear her say, and I'm quoting, "She had her finger on the trigger." Casey White's attorney, Mark McDaniel, said that his client would plead not guilty to the felony murder charge. White entered his plea in exchange for the felony murder charge. "It wasn't supposed to happen like that," White said in court as members of Vicky White's family listened. "Things happened, and we were in love." According to him, They planned to make a new life together with $29,000 in cash, 4 handguns, and an AR-15 rifle, which was found in the getaway car. Now, Casey White is facing additional charges of fleeing, as well as murder charges, in which, if he's found guilty, he could face a possible death sentence. Now, as evil as Casey is, Vicky's family and friends were more shocked about how a 4-time award-winning, kind-hearted officer could do such a thing. It was even hard to believe that she was the mastermind behind this logistical escape plan. Sherry Sylvester, who had been working alongside Vicky for a span of 16 years, shared that, quote, "I acknowledge that she has made a grave error and a terrible mistake, but she remains our friend." According to Sherry, Vicky had consistently worked on assisting prisoners, especially those who lacked family support. Sherry also affirmed that she never witnessed Vicky crossing any ethical boundaries, stating that she always operated, quote-unquote, by the book. Connie Moore, the mother of Casey White, disclosed that her last conversation with him occurred via phone on the day before the escape. She recollects, saying, quote, "Everything seemed completely normal. I highly doubt that he had any inkling that he was going to leave when she entered his cell to retrieve him." That just goes to show you how much Casey's family was in denial, and how much Vicky's family was in shock. She was even going to be the Employee of the Year for the 5th time, had it not been for her 11-day escape. This, to us, was a modern-day Bonnie and Clyde story about how an award-winning officer turned into a fugitive just for the sake of love. Thanks for watching.